Welcome back to Gamer Unite. I'm your host, G.A.M.E.R here, and today, welcome to our first talk video. I did not expect this to be our first talk video, but here we are, and it's definitely an interesting video that we definitely should talk about. It's kind of an odd one because we're going to be talking about mobile gaming. Now, me, myself, I'm not a fan of mobile gaming. I don't play mobile games like almost at all, and the idea of putting big AAA mobile games doesn't necessarily appeal to me, but I know there is a big market out there for it, and there is so many people who do. And that's why I think it's really important for us to talk about this today, because we are a channel that loves talking about gaming as a whole, any platform, no matter what you're on. We're going to celebrate games. We're going to talk about games. And this is going to have huge impact, because today, the Apple something event, it was some conference that Apple hosts, I think like once every year, where they reveal a whole bunch of new tech, do a bunch of updates for all their iPhones and all that stuff. They had that today, and they basically announced the iPhone 15 and a lot of its features and what it's going to be able to do. And some stuff they said about it was quite interesting, and I definitely think we need to talk about it because it's going to shake, honestly, I think it's going to shake the foundation of gaming as it is. So let's go ahead and get talking about it. And starting off with I'm going to just kick the door down, like blunt force. We're going to be able to run AAA games natively on the iPhone 15. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, what? How? Like, natively? You sure we're not talking about like cloud streaming? You sure, like, or are we talking like real AAA game, like big like God of War, Starfield AAA game? Yeah, that's pretty much what I'm talking about here. And no, I'm not talking about cloud streaming. I'm talking about natively. Like, you are going to be able to run the game on your iPhone 15. Yeah, I couldn't believe it when I read this first. I was like, surely there's something up here. Surely we're missing something. There's got to be a catch. But no, that's not the case. They announced today that there are going to be AAA games playable natively on the iPhone 15, such as Death Stranding, Resident Evil 4, and Assassin's Creed Mirage were the ones that were like basically like given, like said. But I'm sure there's going to be plenty more. And so what we're going to do, we're going to go and watch a little bit of the trailer where it talked about the gaming. And then we're going to go and check out an article by IGN talking about it, and we're gonna talk about it, give a little thoughts on it, because I do think this is very, very interesting. So let's go ahead and let's jump over to this trailer and see what they exactly had to say about it. So they didn't really talk about it much, but there you see Resident Evil 4. So it's so interesting. Okay, off of this trailer, you can definitely tell there's definitely like much less resolution, and I'm gonna assume less frame rate. I can't really tell.
Enabling higher quality graphics.
Yeah, it looks like it's definitely running at a lower frame rate, but I mean, the games are running, and that is, I mean, the Resident Evil 4 remake just came out this year, and it is a phenomenal game, and it is very high in performance, like very great graphics, a lot of visual like demand, and it's right here running on the iPhone 15. Now, obviously, this is great and all, like, this is just an addition for mobile gamers. That's not really the reason I want to talk about this today, and that's because I just feel like this is going to have such a bigger effect, and there's so many things that people aren't thinking about this that is really good points that I've read online and that I've just thought about in my head that really leads to some very interesting discussions that we have to have about this. But before we go into that, we're going to read this article by IGN. And it's basically talking about how iPhone 15 Pro represents the next generation of mobile gaming with support for console and PC games previously unavailable on mobile. Resident Evil 4, Death Stranding, and AC Mirages are perfect examples of that. Death Stranding's been out since 2019. Resident Evil 4 came out this year. They were like, if we're talking current iPhones, there's no way, like literally, that's why this is coming as a shock to everybody, because there was just no way we could get those games on iPhone, but here we are. revealed at today's Apple Wonderlust event. Is that what they really called it? Wow, that's weird. iPhone 15 Pro is getting a lineup of AAA games, including native versions of Resident Evil 4 Remake, Resident Evil Village. I didn't even see that one, so there we go. Resident Evil Village as well. Death Stranding, and Assassin's Creed Mirage. Apple also teased huge performance upgrades and ray tracing for gaming on iPhone. Okay. This is wild because there are games on our current like Series X and PS5, definitely on the Switch, that struggle to run on those consoles. So the fact that we're already getting games like these on mobile, and we're now talking about ray tracing on mobile, like this is so wild to me. This represents a huge milestone for mobile gaming, as Assassin's Creed Mirage's release on iPhone 15 Pro will mark the first time that a console PC Assassin's Creed game will run natively on iOS, not to be confused with cloud streaming or the upcoming mobile-only Assassin's Creed game. That is true. So there is another Assassin's Creed game called Assassin's Creed Codename Jade or something like that. That is just a straight-up mobile Assassin's Creed game. It's not like a game on console that can run on this on mobile. No, it is just a mobile Assassin's Creed game. But that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about the Assassin's Creed Mirage, the one that's releasing on the Series X, on the PS5, the one that comes out in like less than a month now, and honestly, it looks great. I'm not gonna lie. It appears the full version of Assassin's Creed Mirage and these other titles will be available on iPhone 15 Pro. We'll have to wait and see how well these games perform and how AAA gaming impacts iPhone 15 Pro's battery life. But the idea of playing modern AAA games on mobile hardware is fascinating. And that's really what I want to talk about. But let's go ahead and finish that here. As for release timing, Resident Evil Village, Resident Evil 4, and Death Stranding are coming to iPhone 15 Pro and iPhone 15 Pro Max later this year, while Assassin's Creed Mirage is coming in the first half of 2024. Assassin's Creed Mirage is set to hit PS5, Xbox Series X, PS4, Xbox One, and PC on October 5th, meaning the iPhone version is coming a bit later than the console and PC release. Makes sense. Apple says the Pro class GPU is 20% faster, featuring a 6-core design with better peak performance and energy efficiency. Apple says its new A17 Pro enables next-level mobile gaming with fast, efficient performance and hardware accelerated ray tracing. The first thing I want to say, I think there's multiple different emotions I go through when I think about this and when I read this and when I'm talking about it, and that is excitement, curiosity, and then fear. Like I got like a little bit of everything. Like I'm like there's a little part of me that's kind of excited for this, which I'll get into. And then I definitely have so many questions, a lot of curiosity. I'm really interested to see where things go. And then I'm also like really scared about some things. So number one, I'm excited. I'm not gonna lie. When I first saw this, I'm like, yeah, that's pretty cool. Like, the fact that I could just play Resident Evil 4 Remake like while I'm at school, or like when I don't recommend playing in like class or anything, but like when I'm on campus, or when I'm at a restaurant or something, I could just play Resident Evil 4 Remake on my phone. Like, that's unheard of, not even thought of, really. So it's kind of exciting to be able to play these AAA games wherever you go, and the fact that many more players are going to be able to basically play these games, like have access, because the mobile market is honestly one of the biggest in gaming. I'm not gonna lie. And so when you have these games like Death Stranding and Resident Evil 4, which heavily rely on PC and consoles, now you're opening up a whole new spectrum of people who are gonna be able to play these games, and that's exciting to me. That is exciting. There's no question about that in my mind. But then we get to the curiosity and the interest. Now, these can be negative things. These can be exciting things. It kind of just depends on what exactly we're talking about. But my thought right now is, how consistent and how common is this actually going to be? Like, the fact that Assassin's Creed Mirage hasn't even come out for consoles yet, and it's coming out on the iPhone 15 a little bit later. Does that mean we're going to start seeing a lot of current games also releasing on mobile? And I'm talking big games, like I'm talking AAA games like Assassin's Creed Mirage. Is that what we're going to see? Because that could be insane, like massive, game-changing. Because, like I said, there's a huge market. So this is almost like adding, like, if we take Nintendo, Xbox, PlayStation, the big three, this is almost like adding a fourth one. You know what I mean? Like, this is almost adding like a fourth big one, because this is going to be a platform for big AAA games and just any games to release on now. If this is what this means. Now, it may release a little later, which might be the case, which as is with AC Mirage. But it still begs the question is, how common is this going to be? Now, they've only said 4 games out of, I mean, we all know a ton of AAA games that came out this year, last year, forever in history. So, it could just be some very, very specific games. That remains to be seen. But if we do get to a point where we are consistently seeing these AAA games released on iPhone, this could be really huge for not only giving mobile a bigger platform, but also game developers and just games in general to get way more spread and just mainstream, honestly. And it's just wild to see. But then there's the scary part is me. I'm not a mobile gamer, right? I do not like playing on my phone, really. And I fear if this is truly successful, and like we start seeing a huge amount of success from this, that a lot of developers will start doing like a lot of mobile stuff. And I don't want this to impact consoles at all, is what I'm basically getting. I don't want this to impact consoles at all. I want mobile players to be able to play these games and have more access to more things, but I don't want this to affect console players or PC players for this matter. And that could come from the hands of developers, could come from the hands of just games being mobile only. So, that is one fear I have. And then also another fear is something that I actually read from one of the game enthusiasts that I follow. His name is Jay Wood. Shout out to him. We absolutely love Jay Wood here. And that is that he mentioned that Phil Spencer, the head of Xbox, once mentioned in an interview that PlayStation and Nintendo were not their biggest competition, and that Apple and Amazon were actually the biggest. He said Amazon, Apple, and Google were their biggest competition. Not PlayStation or Nintendo. He basically said that, they have the money, to disrupt the industry and disrupt gaming, right? A lot of us kind of were like, makes sense money-wise, but we don't really ever see them taking gaming seriously or, really going mainstream with gaming. Well, fast forward to today, right? Apple revealed this, and that we're getting these AAA games, which were huge hits. I mean, Resident Evil 4 is one of the best games to release this year. Death Stranding was nominated for Game of the Year. AC Mirage is one of my most anticipated games right now. It's very anticipated by many. Resident Evil Village was a big game in 2021. Also got nominated for Game of the Year that year. And so, is this what Phil was talking about? Because what this could mean, instead of Apple making a gaming console, they're just going to allow their iPhone, which, by the way, millions and millions of people own. I mean, we're talking way more than any system that's ever existed in gaming. Millions of people own iPhones. If this is what Phil was talking about, they kind of have our attention now. And what this kind of makes me think is, could we possibly see acquisitions? Because what happens? Like, let's say theoretically, Apple acquires Capcom or something like that. This could legitimately be the fourth titan in gaming. And honestly, with the amount of people that own iPhones and the big market that mobile gaming is, they could straight up take over. I'm not trying to over exaggerate anything, but you have to look at the sheer amount of numbers and the possibilities. Now, do I think that this is going to happen? No, not necessarily. I'm not really sold on really them acquiring on anybody or, them trying to become like a big titan or anything. But this is definitely something to think about leading into this, because I mean, Phil mentioned it, and it's just kind of how the world works. When a company enters a business lot like this, you have to wonder some of the possibilities, some of the possible futures, that we're going into. And for gaming, for us gamers, always looking for new games and what's coming next. This is coming next. And Apple has made a statement today saying, yo, gaming is very important for our mobile devices. And we're showing that here with AAA games coming to iPhone 15 natively. No need for a console, just your iPhone. And it's pretty exciting. I mean, it just really is exciting. Now, the other thing is, will this affect other mobile companies? Will Samsung start getting involved? Will Android, start is Samsung Android? I don't know. I've never gambled into anything other than iPhone, I'll be honest with you. But yeah, it's a really interesting question, and I think this topic is going to be with us for a long time now. I feel like this is never going to go away. They're going to keep on advancing. We're going to keep on seeing new things. My biggest questions right now is just how consistent will these games actually be coming to iPhone, and what does this mean in terms of Apple being being in gaming? Like, are they really being serious about this, or is this just to help spread gaming and get more numbers on their phone? Or is this like them actually trying to take a step into being a really big company in gaming? Because they might be onto something. That's all I'm saying. But let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Are you excited about this? Are you worried about this? Do you have a lot of questions? I'm sure we all have a lot of questions. What are some of your questions, and what do you think about some of my opinions on that? But yeah. Very, very interesting. Not the thing I thought I was going to be talking about today, but here we are. And yeah, I guess we'll have to see what happens. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. G.A.M.E.R out. Peace.